We are on top of breaking news. Guilford County school leaders are expected to make an announcement soon about their adjusted reentry plans for students. This after the district delayed sending pre-K through second graders back to classrooms on Tuesday because of rising COVID-19 case numbers. When we learn more, we will bring it to you on air and online. Good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, holding down the fort today with Eric Tilton. As always, this is an interactive news show. It's really built to connect you with your community and with us. So during the breaks, keep talking with us on our Facebook page. That's where we live stream everything, and make sure to use our hashtag 4 to 5. Students in the Alamance-Burlington school system will not return to classrooms yet. The Board of Education voted this morning to continue remote learning until January 15th. Kindergarten through second grade was scheduled to return part-time on the 28th, but that is no longer happening. Middle and high school students will stay on the same schedule. Principals are now working on dividing students into cohorts and trying to get siblings on the same schedule to make it simpler for families. All grades will return to classrooms on January 15th.
Well, it looks like North Carolina will not be moving past Phase 3 today. Phase 3, by the way, was scheduled to end today. Phase 3 now, to refresh your memory a little bit, allows bars, restaurants, movie theaters, and other entertainment venues to open, but at a limited capacity. Indoor gatherings still limited to 25 people, outdoor to 50. And Governor Cooper says the state is staying in Phase 3 for 3 more weeks until our coronavirus metrics level drops.
So let's take a look at where numbers are now. The number of daily cases rose for 3 days straight this week, and the numbers we're about to look at are from yesterday's data. Today's data is not out yet because the State Department of Health's website is experiencing some technical issues. There were 2,400 new cases reported. Over the last 3 days, hospitalization numbers are holding steady. Just more than 1,200 people were in the hospital, with 97% of hospitals reporting. The numbers in Triad counties are raising concerns for the White House Coronavirus Task Force. Alamance County reported nearly 4,900 total cases, Davidson 3,500 total cases. Randolph was also in the 3,500 range, and Guilford County reports more than 10,000 cases. Rockingham County reporting more than 1,700 cases. The State Department of Health sent a letter to these counties and others in North Carolina who reported 300 or more new cases in the past 2 weeks. In that letter, they suggest local leaders enforce tighter guidelines like restricting alcohol sales earlier than 11 p.m., closing high-risk businesses like bars, and even a possible fine for businesses that are not enforcing mask wearing. Let's turn now to your 4 to 5 roundup. A vote in the full Senate is scheduled on Monday to nominate Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. Yesterday, the Senate Judiciary Committee voted to advance her nomination. 10 Democratic senators on the panel boycotted the committee vote, though, by placing photos of people who rely on the Affordable Care Act in their Senate seats. The Supreme Court is expected to soon rule on if that health care plan is constitutional. Regulators approved the first drug to treat COVID-19, remdesivir, an antiviral medicine that's given through an IV. A National Institutes of Health study says the drug cut recovery time by 5 days. It was authorized for emergency use in the spring, but is now the first medicine to get full FDA approval to treat COVID-19. The drug works by inhibiting a substance that allows the virus to make copies of itself. And Walmart is suing the U.S. government over its responsibility in the opioid crisis. The government is expected to take legal action against Walmart, seeking big financial penalties for the role its pharmacies may have played in filling opioid prescriptions. But Walmart filed a lawsuit saying the Justice Department and DEA are blaming the company for something that's actually the government's fault. And President Donald Trump will return to North Carolina tomorrow. He will visit the fairgrounds in Lumberton. The president is expected to speak at 12:30, but doors will open at 9:30. His campaign says his remarks are about fighting for the forgotten men and women of Lumberton.
Well, President Donald Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden made their final arguments to voters in last night's presidential campaign debate. The debate, by the way, was much more orderly this go around than it was the first time. There were relatively few interruptions in this one and more control on speaking time. The debate commission even muted the mic of the candidate who was not speaking during the initial 2-minute response time. The two men touched on foreign policy, the economy, race, and climate change. But a common theme throughout the night was COVID-19.
Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America.
We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China.
Another topic that was getting a lot of attention from voters online was race. Both men were asked about racial disparity in America.
The exception of Abraham Lincoln, nobody has done what I've done. Criminal justice reform, Obama and Joe didn't do it.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history.
For the final question, moderator Kristen Welker asked both candidates what they would say in their inaugural address to Americans who did not vote for them. President Trump focused on the economy, while Biden said the character of the country is on the ballot.
But did last night's debate sway your vote? I asked you that question on my Facebook page today. Let's take a look at what you had to say. Robbie Ingram said it did not sway my vote because I didn't watch the debate and I already voted a week ago. Bobby Odom said glad to hear what they both had to say, but no. Vicky says, no, I voted based on performances of both in their leadership roles, one past and one present. She goes on to say action, not talk. Doug Williams said already voted, but last night wouldn't have changed anything. And Bonnie said, nope, sticking with my original choice. So, of course, last night was the final presidential debate, but the candidates still have 11 days until Election Day, which, of course, is the last day Americans can cast their ballots.
And I think, too, Maddie, at least for the people that I've talked to, I think everybody feels so strongly one way or the other. I don't think the debate would sway a whole lot. I'll bet, and I don't have the numbers to back this up, but I'll bet undecided voters are probably the smallest it's ever been in a presidential election this go around.
Well, I don't know that debates ever truly sway anyone's vote at this point, Eric. I said in my 2 cents yesterday, it's really just about getting some good jabs in there, some zingers, and maybe even a viral moment on social media. I feel like a lot of voters have their mind made up, and this only reinforces what they're already thinking.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's kind of what happens is that at this point, if you're undecided, you're probably just going to remain undecided for a while. But yeah, the amount of people that were swayed last night was probably tiny.
Right, because these candidates have been campaigning for years at this point. People know what they stand for. They know their platforms. They know their policies. And so they really already have their mind made up 11 days out from Election Day, or most do. Well, if you have not voted yet and you are a Guilford County voter, expect to see 2 measures on your ballot to benefit Guilford County Schools. The school district is pushing for voters to approve 2 ballot measures covering costs for major school repairs, a $300 million school bond and a 1/4-cent sales tax on ballots. If the money is approved, repair work, we are told, will begin immediately. And like I said, we are 11 days out from Election Day, and voters are fulfilling their civic duty here in North Carolina. Take a look at these numbers. More than 2.6 million voters have already voted. Total voter turnout is at nearly 37%. More than 727,000 of those ballots were cast by mail. 1.9 million were cast at a one-stop early voting site. Piedmont Triad counties are in line with that average. 33% of voters have already voted in Alamance County, 36% in Guilford County, and 37% in Forsyth. Remember, early voting goes on through the 31st. You can still request an absentee ballot up until the 27th, and then the last day to vote, Election Day, is November 3rd.
And the mild weather sticks around for a while, folks. We are going to see this for another day or so until a front finally clears us. Once that happens, it'll bring some rain, and believe it or not, a chance of thunderstorms. It's kind of late in the fall season, really, for us to see that kind of activity. Really, that's more of a summer thing, but that will be the case possibly for your Saturday. We start out with the temperatures at upper 70s across much of the Triad. Asheboro is only at 76, though. We go up to 82 in Yanceyville, but most of the region between about 76 and 79 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, patchy fog toward the morning hours. Again, tomorrow, that high could reach 80 degrees. That's a summertime temperature, and that means a chance of late day, maybe evening thunderstorms mixed in with the showers. Probably likely, not just a possibility. And if you zoom out to our wider shot, I always like to show you, there's the frontal boundary getting close to us, moving into western Tennessee. Again, it'll move across our area probably during the day Saturday, with that rain coming in Saturday afternoon and evening and a chance of a thunderstorm. It remains a little bit unsettled heading into Sunday as well. You notice the front becomes a little more horizontal on its axis. Why do we care about that? That means it just takes it longer to clear us. So that Sunday could be kind of a cool, drizzly, maybe here and then here or there a shower kind of day on Sunday, and will be significantly cooler since we'll be on the backside of the front. But if you look at the long range forecast after the rain Saturday and then a cool damp Sunday at 61, we're back to the mid 70s and upper 60s for much of next week, with a rain chance again on Thursday and Friday.
Well, coming up next, we are getting a feel for who you believe won the presidential debate last night. You can join our conversation on our live stream. You can find that on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page. Make sure to use our hashtag 4 to 5. We'll be right back.
Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3 4. Mic check 4 to 5.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. The tone of last night's presidential debate was very different from the first, but that does not mean President Donald Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden missed their chances to fire back and forth over each other's policy. But we wanted to know who you felt won last night's debate. So Brian Bennett is joining us now. Brian, what are people saying on our Facebook page?
All right, yeah, Maddie, let's jump right on in, okay? We're going to kick it off with Randall, who says Trump won. And Sandra Thompson comes up next and says Biden again. Diane says Trump all the way. Amy says Mr. Joe Biden. Ricky Flood says Trump won. Biden never tells how he would fix anything. And Larry says Biden answered all the questions intelligently and with facts.
All right, Brian, thank you. Eric, I have to say, compared to the first debate, I think the winner was the American people, because we actually got to hear what each candidate had to say. And last night was definitely more focused on policy than we've seen in past debates as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would say, is that finally we get to hear, a civil discussion and get some points out there. Again, going back to our previous story, I don't think it really changed anybody's mind how they're voting, but it's nice to see some civility and some kind of structure back in the debates again, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I can't believe we're only 11 days out from Election Day.
I know. Here we go. Get ready, put your seatbelts on, everybody. Hey, we've got something fun coming up here in just the next block. I'm excited about this story because you might love art, but I guarantee you haven't seen art like we're about to show you. There's a Greensboro artist who's breaking new boundaries here with this type of art. It's fascinating. We'll have that story coming up. So if you have not seen artist Felix Semper's art, then you have to get ready for this. This Greensboro artist is wowing people all over, not just the Triad, but all over the world, including some celebrities, because what you see is not necessarily what you get with his art. Watch closely.
I was in the construction business in Greensboro, lost my business in 2008, and kind of reinvented myself, went to my first love, which was art. The idea came back to when I used to work in a print shop. I glued paper in stacks. I glued it solid and carved it. It was so realistic that I couldn't really prove that it was paper that I was carving on. So then that's when I came up with the idea of gluing sheets of paper where they come apart and they're glued in a certain way where it's almost like an accordion. Sculptures take anywhere from 3 months to a couple of weeks, depending on the size and complexity of the sculpture. For example, Tupac took me over 3 months to create. I'm looking at Tupac's pictures. I'm only relating to photographs in different angles. And then I create a special system. It's a motor that's built inside Tupac. My slogan is stretching your imagination. So I'm hoping that when people see my work, that their imagination tells them that there's really no limits. There's no bounds to how far you can go and what things you can do, and that everything is art. I think beauty is around us everywhere. We just have to find it, and we have to, seek it.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's It's some of the most amazing stuff that I've ever seen, and you need to Google his name and just look at some of the videos out there. He'll go on the streets of New York City and, you know, do the, like, take the what looks like a piece of like sculpture, like granite or something, and then lift it up and watch it do that, and everybody's face, it just lights up. He's making a big scene nationally and across the world. Really.
Right, because the reveal is so unexpected.
Yes.
And just like he said, he was carving these amazing works of art out of paper, but no one believed that they were paper. So how brilliant is that, just to be able to pull it apart? You know, I think his next sculpture should be that, don't you think? It should just be this right here. Eric Chilton.
Sure. Let's do that.
I would love that.
Yeah, that would be horrific. Horrific.
We could just keep it in the studio. When you're on your vacation, it could just sit here.
That's
and we
horrible. Just let him sit on the set when I'm not there.
Paper Eric. Flat Eric. Oh, goodness.
Yes.
Very cool, though, and he's in Greensboro.
Yes, Revolution Mill Studios, and you can check out this story on WFMYnews2.com, but stop by Revolution Mill and just look at it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it looks like they have some safety precautions in place. He's behind some glass, and people were wearing masks too.
That's right. Yeah, he's very conscious of that, but you got to go online and look at the numbers of celebrities. He's got pictures of him with all these celebrities doing his art. It's really neat.
I saw him posing with Wendy Williams and DJ Khaled. Next, he's going to be posing with you.
He's all over the place.
He's going to be posing with you. All right, stick around because we have a really cool story coming up after the break. An aspiring doctor created a mobile coronavirus testing lab. So stick around. We're going to introduce you to Taft Foley and explain how his lab is helping getting results to patients faster. And you'll never believe how old he is. That's next. And welcome back to your 4 to 5. So yesterday we told you about a 14-year-old girl who is researching a cure for coronavirus. But today we want to introduce you to an 18-year-old who created a mobile coronavirus testing lab. Taft Foley's testing lab gets results in just minutes. He's also one of Texas's youngest EMTs. After finishing an EMT course this summer, he waited 2 hours for a coronavirus test and then had to wait 2 weeks for the results. By August, the Texas Mobile Medical Lab was on the road.
With the economy opening back up, COVID-19 is really going to start spreading through asymptomatic people. And I feel as if we're able to test entire businesses, we will be able to let people know that they're positive or negative.
And very impressive, on Monday, he tested his 500th person. He says the mobile unit tests 30 people a day on average, and no surprise here, he aspires to be a doctor. Chilton, I'm having a Whitney Houston moment. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way.
So true. Sing it, Maddie. He looked so natural in the coat, too, didn't he? Just like he was just used to that.
Absolutely. I think that, this is not the last we'll be hearing about him. And it is a really smart idea just to test people in businesses, because then you find out who might be asymptomatic and you can control that case so they're not spreading it to people unknowingly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that scares them the most about this, is that you can have it and never know it and pass it on to other people. And I feel sure that's happened with a lot of people. They don't even know that they passed it on to someone else. That's the hard part about all this.
Absolutely. All right. The weekend is here, Eric, which means I want to know what the weather is.
It is. And I held this up for Maddie earlier, so I'll do it now. We're in the studio.
Look at
hello.
us. I like a smiley
During the
face.
commercial breaks. If you're not watching us on Facebook, you're missing out. That's all I'm going to say. You're missing out. All right, let's get to our forecast. We do have a couple of showers on the way, not for today, but this is really a Saturday, late evening, late afternoon, early evening situation. Look for the showers. Here's the strange part, that there's actually a chance of thunderstorms, but when you look at our high temperature tomorrow being at 80 degrees, that makes sense, doesn't it? Especially with a cold front coming through. So if you hear thunder or see lightning, don't be surprised on Saturday evening. We're thinking Sunday, it'll take it a while for that front to kind of clear the area. It'll linger a little bit. Sunday on the backside of that front, still a little unstable with some drizzle or light rain, but it's really more of kind of a cool, damp Sunday. And the high temperature on Sunday may only reach into the low 60s if we're lucky. So that's going to be a complete change from what we're used to. Patchy fog tonight with that low of 59 degrees. That's what you'll see in the morning time, that fog. Then it burns away. That high of 80, late day thunderstorms possible. Then a shower or two Sunday and 61. Monday, we start to clear out 68, and we're back to the mid 70s Tuesday, Wednesday. Rain chances as we head into next week, 20% Wednesday, 40 and 30% for Thursday, Friday, and highs in the mid to upper 60s.
Halloween is just around the corner, and families are trying to figure out how to enjoy a spooky night during a pandemic. Our Brian Bennett spoke with some parents, and they are sharing their plans, coming up next at 4:30. You want another mic check from me? I just want to take this opportunity to say happy Friday to Facebook and all of those watching.
Well, hello. My goodness. What kind of music do we have here?
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check for the.
Milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination.
Good afternoon and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, joined by Eric Chilton, who is working from home this afternoon. And Eric will agree, the best part of the show is that it is interactive. It really is built to connect you with your community and with us. We are live streaming the entire thing on our Facebook page. You can also find us on Twitter and YouTube. But we chat with you during the break, and it's Friday, so we're having a little bit of fun this afternoon. Be sure to use our hashtag 4 to 5. Well, we want to jump right into the headlines with your 4 to 5 roundup. The U.S. Postal Service awarded Postmaster General Louis DeJoy's former company a $5 million shipping contract. DeJoy, who is from Greensboro, still owned a multi-million-dollar stake in XPO Logistics as early as October. It's not the first time the Postal Service has worked with XPO. Their most recent contract was in December, but it was temporary. This new deal is set to last 18 months and move mail between Virginia and Indiana. They'll get $3.3 million each year. A federal judge is urging the Trump administration to do more to help find hundreds of parents who were separated from their kids after they crossed the U.S.-Mexico border in the last 3 years. A court filing this week revealed that researchers are not able to track down the parents of 545 children, a number much larger than previously known. Most of those parents were deported back to Central America while their kids were placed with sponsors in the United States, often relatives. Amazon is making it faster for Prime members to get their groceries from Whole Foods. Responding to the increased demand for curbside pickup from customers, Amazon is now offering free 1-hour grocery pickup if people spend more than $35. There are nearly 500 Whole Foods stores across the country, including 2 in the Triad. The new program is rolling out at all locations. And the GMC Hummer is making a comeback, but this time it will be all electric. GM announced it as a zero-emissions super truck. It's among 20 electric models the company plans to develop and sell by 2023. You'll remember the automaker stopped production on Hummers back in 2010.
So there is a new national survey. It says that 70% of Americans favor allowing same-sex couples to legally wed. Now, the Public Religion Research Institute, they released their findings days before Pope Francis became the first pontiff to endorse civil unions. They found that 80% of Democrats, 76% of independents, and 50% of Republicans support legal marriage for gay and lesbian couples. There was also majority support among almost all major religious groups polled. According to that study, the only group that mostly opposed same-sex marriage was evangelical Protestants, with 34% in favor.
Well, some cities canceled their big Halloween events because of the coronavirus. They're now providing alternatives so families can still enjoy Halloween. WFMY News 2's Brian Bennett spoke with several people to find out how they're spending their Halloween this year.
Do you have plans for Halloween this year?
Yes, different plans now, obviously. This was the first Halloween we were planning to take our 5-year-old out and go door to door. But I think we're gonna go do a socially distanced trunk or treat.
This year is definitely a little different, as I'm sure it is for everybody else. I'm doing a little bit of trunk or treating.
We're gonna take the kids to a trunk or treat, and then they're gonna do like a drive-in movie night at my son's school. So it's just going to be, kind of low key. And then, of course, Halloween night.
All right. And what precautions are you taking this year as opposed to years prior?
My child has plenty of masks. We're going to try to incorporate it into her costume this year. And we have hand sanitizer stuck on her jacket.
We're actually putting together some individually wrapped goodie bags that the parents will be handing out. And of course, before they hand those out, we're going to be sanitizing their hands.
We'll still do the trick-or-treating like regular, but just checking the candy, making sure it's all clean, maybe sanitize it, I don't know.
And lastly, how did you tell your kids, this Halloween may look a little different because we're in the middle of a pandemic?
Actually, I don't think she knows the difference because she's never had a trick-or-treating experience for Halloween before, but we are going to try to make it as fun as possible.
I think it's more so just him being able to wear his costumes and grab candy. So the last 2 months he's actually been wearing both of his costumes. And the 1-year-old girl, she'll be wearing a Wonder Woman costume, but if brother's excited, she's excited.
It's something I guess that's on their mind, but they're not thinking about it. They're just ready to dress up and have fun and get free candy.
The best part of that entire story were the Halloween costume previews at the end. Was that like a Mr. Incredible tomato? Did you see that?
What that was. I did. I really, I'm not sure. I think that is a Fortnite character mask, but he's wearing an Incredibles body. I think. Don't quote me on that.
Well, you would know.
My kids are just excited that it's coming. I mean, we're going to do, our neighborhood is like our street is like a dead end. So the kids basically can just stay in the neighborhood and trick or treat, and it's fairly safe. And we just have a great time. And boy, to say they're excited is a ridiculous understatement.
Yeah, and cities and towns, communities, they really are stepping up and trying to create some safer alternatives for families. I mean, a quick search on our website will reveal dozens of Halloween events that are happening it's just going to look a little bit different. We know that. Everything this year has looked a little bit different.
You should come over, Maddie, and just walk around with us and see all the kids. Everybody's doing their social distance thing, and we're still going to be able to trick or treat safely. So I expect to see you here.
Well, that was the first time I've heard of the invitation, Eric. So let me just check my planner.
Right in front
You
of the
just
world.
assume I have no plans. Okay, you're right.
No comment.
I don't. Moving on. The Rocket Man has his own Barbie doll now. I love this story. Now, the Barbie won't look exactly like Elton John, but she does have his style. Take a look. Barbie is commemorating the 45th anniversary of his 2 sold-out shows at the LA Dodger Stadium. The doll dons a bomber jacket with Elton written in cursive across the chest. Her flare jeans have his initials at the bottom, and she's wearing a pair of rainbow-striped boots and a purple bowler hat. And you can't miss the signature pink tinted glasses. She looks great.
The forecast, she does look like the Elton fans back in the 70s. That's what she looks like. Hey, 59 degrees for our low tonight, which means that's tomorrow morning, right? That's the early morning temperature. Patchy fog here or there for tomorrow morning, but tomorrow's high is really the story. And the reason why is that when you reach 80 degrees and you've got a cold front moving through, it's a chance of a thunderstorm. A little late in the season, isn't it? Or into October. We usually don't see that, but that chance exists for your Saturday evening. So if you have outdoor plans, just keep that in mind. But temperature is going to be nice. The first half of the day, you'll be fine. I think even into early afternoon, it's just right after that things might deteriorate a little bit. Could you see a shower before then? Yes, but we'll watch for more of the heavier activity overnight Saturday into Sunday. That front clears us. We're cool and damp on Sunday with a high temperature only in the 60s. And it looks like with the long range forecast next week, back to normal, still a little warm, mid 70s first part of the week, but back to the mid to upper 60s where we should be to end the week with a slight rain chance.
Of course, we're just a week away from Halloween, right? And I want to see the pumpkins. Chilton, show me your pumpkin.
Okay. Listen, just a moment. I forgot this. So during Brian's story, I had to run downstairs and pick this giant thing up.
Wow.
There you go.
That is a large pumpkin, friends. What are you going to do with the pumpkin?
Yet. We're going to decorate it, but we haven't even decided what yet. For now, it's just a decoration on the front porch.
Okay. And what about you, Maddie? Okay, she's got a wee pumpkin.
She's just a little thing.
She's such a cute little wee pumpkin. Okay, so we need to get on the Hey Pumpkin wagon. All right, so here it is. Here are my pumpkins. Well, actually, I didn't carve these. These are in my family. We've got the spooky guy, right, and then the other guy. I did not do the carving. What I did was the painting.
Yes.
Do you see my painting of my gator?
It looks really good, Tanya.
It's
I'm
not
impressed.
too bad. Not too bad. I mean, no, it's just my attempt at Halloween fun here. Maybe you at home have some Halloween carvings and some decorations, but nothing is compared to my friends in Florida. I want to show you this here, okay? It's hard for me to pick a favorite. Look at this. This one is the dino baby breaking from its shell. The whole entire family does a pumpkin, each one, and then they, have a contest. This one is the shark with Nemo and Dory. Right, from Disney movie. Remember, fish are food, not friends, not food, right? Okay, all right, something like that. And then speaking of food, we've got the gumball machine.
Wow.
That's a whole lot of hot glue on a pumpkin, right? And then here's one for you, Starbucks lover.
One wins.
Okay, this one is the latte, and then it had the donut, and then, of course, the handful of M&Ms done with pumpkins. Isn't that the cutest thing?
I am so impressed.
I'm loving this. Okay, this is just one of the many stories coming up today in our Reason to Smile. That's right, from 5:30 to 6, we're giving you what you always seem to ask for, which is good news. We're going to end the week this way. So things to make you smile. That's coming up at 5:30.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. President Donald Trump praised last night's debate moderator, Kristen Welker. He took a moment during the debate to tell her she was doing a good job. He said, quote, "So far, I respect very much the way you are handling this." And that is a change from comments on his Twitter account earlier in the day. So we wanted to know how you think the moderator did in last night's debate. Brian Bennett joining us once again to read a few of those comments. Hey, Brian.
Hey, how you doing, Maddie? Yeah, for the most part, everybody said that she did a good job. Well, not quite everybody. You know, it's always a few apples in the bunch. But anyway, let's get started off with Mike. He says she did a far better job than Chris Wallace, while Karen says she was one-sided and interrupted our president too many times. Norma says, very well, I bet the prep for it was pretty difficult, if I can talk. Pablo says she did great. However, the bar to meet was low. And Kenneth, on the other hand, says great job. Like the way that she did it.
All right, Brian, thank you. Yeah, Eric, a lot of people all over social media are praising the job that she did. Actually, the first black woman to moderate a presidential debate since 1992, and that's when Carol Simpson was the moderator. She was an ABC journalist.
Yeah, I have to say that I think we said this before, but the overall feel restored a lot of the respect for the process, you know, including, I think she did an incredible job. And, you know, you have to kind of keep both candidates, hold them accountable for their time and their comments and that type of thing. And I think she handled it with a lot of class and respect. It was, I mean, it's the best we've seen in a while, honestly.
Yeah, it is a much bigger and more difficult job than I think many people realize. All of the research that goes into crafting those questions. I mean, each word is carefully thought about by a team of researchers and journalists who work together. And I think that they definitely stayed on track more last night. Maybe that was because of the moderator. Maybe it was because they knew their mics could be muted by the debate commission. But overall, I'm glad we heard more of what the candidates had to say.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, got a cool story for you now. This is the phrase we say, your vote matters. It doesn't matter where you are. And that's why a NASA astronaut, this is so cool, Kate Rubins, shared a selfie outside a makeshift voting booth in space, complete with a handwritten sign there. And how will her ballot get back to Earth, you asked? Astronauts actually download secure ballots in space and vote on a computer, in case you didn't know that. The ballot is sent back to their home county, and the clerk downloads the completed vote using password-protected logins. All of the technology is tested before the voting period officially opens. And by the way, Rubins voted from space back in 2016 as well. Talk about absentee ballot. That's about as absentee as it gets.
Yeah, I don't think she can vote in person during the early voting period. I don't think the shuttle is going to fly her back real fast. I'm cracking up at the ballot box that they created so their vote can still be private. I'm thinking of that movie, In Space, No One Can Hear You Scream, but I'm thinking in space, people can still see you vote. Like, it's just...
And they have cameras everywhere up there.
I'm
so they
sure.
have to make sure they're filling out like this so no one can see.
I'm sure when I turned in my ballot today, this year you vote on paper in North Carolina, and they have the little tables set up. It's kind of like a high top, but on three sides there are panels so no one can see you vote. And then you put it in the ballot machine yourself, and there is someone there monitoring it, but they're very careful not to make it seem like they could possibly sneak a peek of who you may have voted for.
I was waiting to see, do you remember, I think they called him Spaceman, but it was when Elon Musk and Tesla put that convertible Tesla and the Spaceman in it and launched it. Yes. I wanted to see him going up and getting the ballots and then coming back down and bringing it back down, yes.
The way your mind works is fascinating to me.
I know, it's so horrible.
I love it. All right, we're heading to break, but we are live all the time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You know the deal. Use our hashtag 4 to 5, and we'll chat with you there.
I'm thinking you can do a mashup of a couple stories. Since you were talking about Elton John, he could be the rocket man that would launch into space to retrieve that ballot and bring it back to Earth so it can be counted.
So let's be honest here, kids and adults love a good adventure park, but I'll bet you haven't seen one like the one we're about to show you before. The Urban Air Adventure Park is not just another trampoline arena like we see around the area. In this one, you might actually find kids flying through the area above you. I spoke with owner Faith Washam about this. Well, Faith, this sounds like such a cool, I cannot wait to see this. It sounds like such a cool thing. How did this come about? How did you come up with this idea?
My daughter gave me the idea when she was in college, and spending money at something similar to this, but just not as fun. And so that's where I got the idea.
So for people that aren't familiar with the concept, tell us what we can expect when we get there.
You can expect very friendly guests, friendly employees. Everyone that works here, we try to have the attitude. We want everyone to come in and have fun. We want you to be safe. We're taking proper precautions for cleaning, and then you have fun. We have a sky rider, which people absolutely love. We have bumper cars. The parents can enjoy it with the kids, or they can let the kids enjoy the attractions, and they can chill out in a parents' lounge.
That's awesome. So you're keeping everybody happy, which is always good. Explain that Skyrider thing, because I thought that was really cool.
So it's like kind of like zip lining through the park. It's of course it's not as long as you would think it would be, but we harness them in, and then they just zip line around the park.
I'm sure that's probably one of the favorites. This sounds like it's going to be one of the best things around. I'm excited for this. I want to thank you for your time today, and we can't wait to get in there and jump around. It really is neat. The park opens, by the way, it's the grand opening is tomorrow at 10 a.m. They're located in Winston-Salem. We've got the address and the link to their website on this story on WFMYnews2.com. So talking about kid-friendly attractions, I asked you on Facebook, what is your favorite triad kid-friendly attraction? I will tell you, there's a common theme running all across all the comments here, and the folks at the Greensboro Science Center should be proud. Aaron Morris says, the Greensboro Science Center, I love seeing the animals and it's educational. Susie said, Greensboro Science Center, so informative and so much to do. My 16-year-old daughter has never tried going there, or never tired, rather, of going there. Of course, she is a science buff. Claire says, I like the Hiddenite Mine in Statesville. So much fun. You get to dig in the dirt or sludge. And Patrick, I think, is kind of saying what parents are saying right now. School is his favorite kid-friendly attraction. Sounds like he's ready for them to head back, maybe.
Where do your kids like to go, Chilton?
Well, the Science Center is right up there, and they also like, the Burlington had the carousel for so long, and then now there's one at the Science Center. They love that. But honestly, a good old park with a swing set is not a bad thing for my two youngest. They love that. Absolutely.
I walk a lot near the Science Center in Country Park, and I always see the kiddos and the families going in. Also, Old Salem is a great place, especially if you have kids who are a little bit older. I love seeing everyone dressed up in costume.
I like going, when you can go in and watch the candles being made and the shoe, the cobbler and all that. I love that. And of course, when they're baking at that bakery, that is a must.
Moravian sugar cookies.
Yes. That sugar cake is killing me. Do I hear Julie Luck back there saying?
I'm hungry. You guys are making me hungry.
This is what we do.
At 4 to 5, right? At 4:53, is it?
It's 4:53.
It is 4:53.
Chilton, where's your jingle?
It is food time. That is food time. All right.
I'm done.
Let's move on to some forecast, and I'll try not to talk about any more food because my stomach's making noises that will be picked up by a microphone. All right. Warm air coming in out of the south, and that keeps us tomorrow. We could reach 80 degrees. You know how unusual that is for this time of the year for us. Chance of a thunderstorm because there's a cold front coming in at the same time, and that means we could see a thunderstorm pop up in the probably more likely evening, but let's say late afternoon, early evening, just in case. Sunday, that front gets a little bit more horizontal on its axis, which means kind of lingers a little bit. So it's a cool, damp Sunday with high temperatures probably in the low 60s if we're lucky. 68 degrees Monday. We'll warm it back up to mid 70s Tuesday, Wednesday. Fairly dry until Thursday, Friday, but even that's only a 30 to 40% chance. Highs back to normal, mid to upper 60s by then.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, any moment now, Guilford County Schools is expected to announce their updated re-entry plan. Pre-K through second grade students were supposed to return to the classroom earlier this week, but that was put on hold. We are bringing you the very latest coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5. Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, but why do you need that? I'm not in the 5.
Hello? Hi, this is me. I'm doing a mic check. We're talking about the Greensboro Science Center on the 4 to 5.
Hi there, breaking news right now where Guilford County Schools is expected at any moment.
Happy Friday. State plays Carolina tomorrow. We have some in-studio rivalry going on.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Mic check. letter? I don't know what that means. Yeah, I can hear you. Uh-huh.
You know, sometimes in my 2 cents, I find myself getting really deep and going off script, which is what today will be, because I had kind of a thought over the weekend, last weekend, about the tough times that we're all going through. Anxiety levels are through the roof with people. And it made me realize that if you take away, if you can boil life down to just the basics of what we learned when we were little kids, that's really all that matters. So there was a book in the 90s, some of you may remember that, All I Really Need to Know About Life I Learned in Kindergarten. And after having that thought and watching my kids and thinking how simple their lives are and wouldn't it be nice to have a life that simple, it made me realize that with the pandemic, with racial issues, with tension and jobs, and think about when you were about 5. The rules were simple, and that book said it all. Think about this: share, play fair, don't hit people, put things back where they belong, clean up after yourself, don't take things that aren't yours, say you're sorry to people. It's pretty simple, and it really is true that the things we take away from the simple life of a child is what really makes us happy and makes us successful in life. And I love the one line in that book when they said, when you go out into the world, watch for traffic, hold hands, stick together. Hold hands and stick together. And that's pretty much it. You follow all those rules and this world will be a much better place. So the next time you're having doubts about your life, watch your kids. But that's just my 2 cents. And that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
Breaking news right now at 5 o'clock. Guilford County Schools is expected at any moment now to update parents on their new re-entry plans. Pre-K through 2nd grade students were supposed to start in-person learning earlier this week, but that was put on hold.
WFMY News 2's Jess Winters joins us live with the very latest information.
Yeah, you heard Julie right there. We're expecting an announcement any second now. The district told me before 5. It's a little after 5. So again,